Hi there, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting, and it's another Sunday. It's come round again, and it's our Share It on a Sunday series where myself, Crafty Karen Designs, and Vicky Lou Designs get together, challenge each other, and make a project from it. So this week it was Victoria's turn, and she did a tic-tac-toe challenge. So on my blog that goes with this particular project, you'll see that in the description bar, shows you the tic-tac-toe challenge. And so I chose three things from there. And I can't see it in front of me now, so I'm trying to remember what it was. And I think it was yellow, linen thread, and feminine. So I'd say that's feminine. Flowers tend to be a bit feminine, don't they? So, and the other thing as well, I'm going to show you how I made this with all of the measurements. The measurements are in the blog post, and I am very proud to show off what I call my COVID-19 nails, in that they are incredibly outgrown. Two have gone, but I'm just totally proud of that. Does not bother me. I'm not going to visit the nail technician. She's not working and I'm staying at home. So there we go. And I hope everybody else is staying at home, staying healthy, staying safe and sane. And this is the only thing that's keeping me sane. I've been trying to work from home and it's really difficult, really, really difficult. But we are happy, healthy at the moment. So I'm going to go with that. Anyway, so if you've only just come across me today, then please don't forget to subscribe if you like nice, simple crafting projects. I don't do anything complicated, something nice and simple that even the beginner crafter could do. So I've got a box that's been made out of a piece of A4 cardstock, and I've used the brand new Ornate Garden DSP. I've got a little bit of sample of this here. So this has got these lovely daisies. I love daisies. And then we've got something, a really deep yellow. I think this is a new colour that's coming out very soon. I think it's called B or something like that. And got that, look at that lovely foil on the back. But I was going for something yellow, and this is what I'm going to be using today. I just think that's absolutely gorgeous. We've got, more daisies. Although I'm thinking I might use that because I'm going to use a white cardstock. And that's got this lovely gold embossing on the back of that. Same for that one. This is really sweet. I might use that because it's got white in it as well. I don't know yet what I'm going to use. I'll choose in a minute. And on the back, how pretty is that? And that again, I believe, is gold. And then we've got this one. It's very nice. Lots of green and some pinks in there. And then we've got some more green going up. That looks like old olive to me, with some more embossing. That's all raised in there. And then that's the other one that I used for this project. I don't think you'd want to pattern any bigger than that. I don't think that would work on that if you were making a bigger box than it would. I'm going to make some cards using this. And on the back of this daisy one is that, which is quite nice as a background paper. And then we've got these big ones. I know nothing about flowers, absolutely nothing. That looks a bit like possibly a chrysanthemum, maybe, I don't know. Daisies, I don't even know why I'm trying to explain to you what flowers they are. I'm rubbish. And that's nice. And that, I believe, that looks like a bit of old olive and a something else. I'm not very good at remembering and recognising the colours, so that's what we're going to be making. You need to start off with a sheet of A4 cardstock, which I haven't even got out ready. That's how good I am. I'm just making the most of. I've done the first half of the dinner and my husband is just finishing it off. So I got the best job. He's peeling potatoes. Hate that job. Let me show you what I've put in here. Now, Easter's going to be a really funny time this year, isn't it? There's not going to be the usual exchanging of Easter eggs. I can't even see my kids. And I would, even though my children are in their early 20s, I would still get them an Easter egg. And I can't this year, and it's difficult, but needs must. So I've got some little chocolate, what are they? Balls, whatever you want to call them. So I've put those in there, and I won't eat those. I've just got a few left over. I think they were a gift or something. I can't remember where I got them from. I think I got them for my birthday. And I've eaten some of them. And I saved a few because I knew I wouldn't be able to get out to the shops. I always buy chocolate this time of year to make boxes like this. So it was like, I said to my husband, don't you dare eat the rest of those chocolates because I want to use them in a project. So, and there they are. I did try to put one more in there. In fact, I tried to squeeze two more in there, but it just altered the shape of the box. Anyway, stop rambling on, Donna. Get on with it. So there's my sheet of A4 white cardstock. And the short side, I'm going to trim to 8 inches. My desk really is a mess, and I thought I'd film this and then pack everything away. So short side trim to 8 inches. And then turn it and trim it to 8.5 inches. And then put that short edge at the top. Do the short edge first. So it's always tricky when you've got almost a square and you've got to try and recognise what's the short and the long side. So just keep checking. So yes, that's my 8 inch. Get that cutting blade out of the way, and we are going to score this at 2 inches, and we're going to score it at 8 inches. And while I remember it, I've got diagrams on my blog post that show you all the different score marks and all the different measurements. But please feel free to write them down as we go along. I like to do that when I watch paper crafters make particular projects. I'm writing them down as I go along. Anyway, so there are my 2 score marks there. Turn it that way. And we are going to score this at 4 inches, I mean in here. On my blog post, I put it in centimetres as well. 2, 4, 6 and 8. So nice, simple measurements there. I'm going to leave my trimmer out because I'm going to trim down my paper. What should I have? I'm not going to use that, it's too big. And I've already used that, so I'll use that for something else. I'm very grateful to Karen from Crafty Karen Designs for donating a chunk of this. Bless her heart. I'm going to go with that. Am I going to go with that? Or am I going to go with... No, there's no white in that. No, that's it. So it's going to be this. So I want to cut... I'm just going to cut my panels out now, just while I've got the trimmer out. So we are going to cut that. I've just got a 6x6 sheet here. So I'm just going to trim that to no, I'm not. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? 3 3/4. I do know what I'm doing, honest. And then that bit, put to one side because you can make 2 squares out of that. So that's 3 3/4. And then the other side of that is 1 3/4. And you want 3 of those. 1, 2, and 3. So 3 of them, and then from that other bit we want, just on the long side, you're going to trim at 1 3/4. You're going to do that twice. So 1 3/4, and then do that again, 1 3/4. And then I did make a tag for the other one, and it didn't look right, it was too big. But I am thinking of, if I do that box again, I might do a nice label for it. So that gives you enough room for a label if you wanted to do that. But I've decided for this project not to. So these 2 bits that you've just cut out need to be trimmed on the other side at 1 3/4. So we trimmed it there at 1 3/4, turn it 90 degrees, and trim at 1 3/4. So what we're left with is, in our DSP, 2 squares at 1 3/4 inches and 3 rectangles at 3 3/4 inches by 1 3/4 inches. and then just put them to one side and remember where you've put them. That's a note to myself, Donna, remember where you've put them. They're to the left of you, because I make projects and then I forget where I've put stuff. Now, there's my white cardstock, and what I'm doing is I'm starting with this long thin rectangle at the bottom. That is the flap that gets pushed into, that's that bit there. And so this bit is the top, this bit is the back, that's the bottom, and then that's the front. Okay, so if you can remember that, then that makes it easier as to when you go to put this together. So that's the, I've forgotten already, that's the front. So that means this is the back. So if, no, this is the bottom. Oh, good grief. So this second rectangle here, that's the bottom of your box. And the two squares next to the bottom of your box will stay intact. They will stay square. What we're going to do with this square and with this square, so the squares either side of our bottom square, we're going to turn those into tabs so that we can stick them to that. And then this square here is going to form the tab that sits in, it's going to form that, it's going to form that bit there that fits in there, like that. And then this rectangle here we get rid of. So what I'm going to do is cut that now to show you, and then I'll do the other one off camera. So here's our little skinny rectangle. I haven't scored anything yet. So now what's difficult for me is that I do have really poor eyesight. So I'm going to do this nice and carefully. So there's, get rid of that one. And then just from here, cut up those next three score lines. So that's my bottom. So that stays as a square. So with this square and this square, so these two, this is what we're going to do with them. So we just cut them slightly diagonally up to that point there, up to that first score line. And then I'm going to cut them that one up to that score line there. So you end up with, I don't know what you end up with, a shape that looks like that. And then I'm just going to just literally slice that off. No measuring, no, there's no exact science to that bit. We're just forming a tab. Leave that one. Come back to this one and do exactly the same. So cut a diagonal line up to that corner. Cut a diagonal line up to the other corner. This looks really close up. And then just hack that bit off. And then you're left with this square here. Now we need to be a little bit more exact with that. I'm actually going to get a pencil and a ruler out that's buried in the debris on my desk. And what I want to do, is measure 1/2 inch from that score line. So from this score line here, I'm going to measure 1/2 inch and just make a little mark there, and then another one here, and then just to make sure that that line is straight. And you could score it or pencil mark it, it's entirely up to you. And actually, while I've got my ruler and my pencil out, I'm going to do one on the other side as well. And then just a pencil line there, like that. And then just carefully a nice neat cut along there, because that line will be visible. So that is what we do with that side. Oops. And then what you're going to do is exactly the same here. And there we have it, all done. Now, before we do any folding and burnishing, we're now going to decorate this. So let's get out those things that I remembered that are to the left of me, remembering that this one is the bottom. And I say that because I glued one of these to the bottom. We don't need one on the bottom because nobody's going to see it. And we're just going to glue those on there like that. So that's where the rectangles go. And then the squares are going to go, that's the side of the box. Like that. So we're just going to glue those on. And there we have it, everything's stuck down. So now you've glued those down, and I've just used wet glue to fold those, to glue those down, just because when you put them down on, you can just put them down onto your card, you can then just wiggle them a little bit to get them in place. So now we're ready to fold and burnish. You can use a bone folder if you want to. I'm just using my fingers, and that's because my bone folder's downstairs. I've got 2 weeks off now for the Easter break, so I am going to be organising, do a little bit more organisation in my craft room, and that's going to mean some painting, sorting out some shelves, if I can get hold of shelves. I don't think shelves are an essential purchase right now, so they may have to wait. I bought paint from a shop that was still trading, but they've now stopped trading now due to COVID-19. So I've got enough paint to keep me going, and I'm going to take my time with it because I don't want to get to the end of the first week and then have nothing to do. Oh, just wait for that to come back into focus. Come on, there we go. So there's our box. It doesn't look like a box, but it is going to be a box. Now, what we're going to do is put some glue on each of these 2 tabs here. Now, you can use wet glue if you like, but I think this works better with tear and tape, and I'll show you how. So make sure you're doing this on the outside of the box. I'm going to put some tape right up against that score line, and that's really important. It stops there being any gaps in your box. So just these 2 tabs that you've made, not that front tab, not this, just these 2. This is why I like tear and tape. It's so quick, but you've got to be exact with it. So if you do like to have that little bit of wiggle room when you're using tear and when you're using wet glue, then by all means do that. You do not want to sit here watching glue dry while I'm demonstrating this. So got those on. So the next thing we need to do is I'm just going to release the tape from these 2 first, and I'll show you how this goes together. So I'm just going to take the release tape off of these bits of tear and tape. Thank goodness it's playing ball while I'm actually videoing. Now, if you think these nails are bad, you should see my roots. They're really bad. I have got a box of hair dye. I normally go to the hairdressers, but it's I can put up with them at the moment. That's because I'm not seeing anybody. But when I come back to work after Easter, and if I had to do any video calls, I'm either going to be wearing a headscarf or I would have redone my roots. Anyway, so keep this. This is your top flap, side flap. These are your tabs, and we're going to attach these tabs to here. So the first one, take this tab, and you're just going to move that to the inside of your flowered tab, or your just to the tab that you decorated with DSP. And what I've realised is I've created a box that was supposed to be yellow for the challenge. So that's actually going to be my original. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. I cannot believe I did that. And so my thought processes have gone completely off the scale. I'll show you again how I put that tab together. So to create the box, so take off your backing tape off your tear and tape. I don't know about you, but during this really difficult time, I've just found it really difficult to think logically. It's just, I'm thinking I'm an intelligent woman most of the time, and I can't even decide what to have for dinner. So that tab, both these tabs go into the inside of your box. So just push that in and then bring your decorated tab up to here. So that was my husband shouting to say that dinner was nearly ready, even though I told him I would be videoing. Take the other tab. This one gets a bit tricky, the last one. You could have kind of just like manoeuvre it to the inside. And then just stick that down. So you're matching the raw edge to the folded edge. Now just very quickly before he shouts again, what we'll do with this box is move those two flaps inside and then that flap inside. Now what always happens with this is that these just need to be trimmed very slightly. This is where your snips come in. So just a tiny, tiny bit off that corner. I hope you can see that, like that. Now I don't do that beforehand because the first box that I made, I didn't even need to do it. So it just depends how you've cut it. So if you're a bit, like I've been here, not particularly good at cutting, that's because I can't see, then you might just need to trim it off just very slightly, just a very, very slight diagonal cut. I hope you can see that. That's what I've taken off. I've just shaved that bit off there. Same here. And the reason why we don't make this too big is because you want the box to shut quite tightly. So I've just literally taken some tiny bits off of there. Now one last thing to do before we can close that. There's the front of our box. Now if you've got a small 1/2 inch circle punch, brilliant. If you don't, you might just have to cut this yourself or not do it at all. And then I've just eyeballed that in the middle. And then that flicks up in your face. So now we've got that, a little thumb notch. So now we can push these flaps in. Push that flap in there. Hope that still fits. There we go. And it's good that it's tight because there's nothing going anywhere with that. Now finally, before he shouts again, take a long length. This is Old Olive linen thread. Now what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to keep one bit just to one side there and then wrap this around. Obviously you would do this after you've put your chocolates in the box. And I'll just let those crisscross a little bit. And then I always find this thread really fiddly. And I'm just going to do a knot because you know me, I can't do bows. And I'm just going to trim that off like that. So there you have a little treat box that you can put whatever you like in there. It doesn't have to be chocolates, it could be anything. If people like little tea lights or just a nice small gift, anything that you might have bought, you might be able to get a couple of, I don't know, nail varnishes in there, bits of makeup, get a few lipsticks in that box. So despite using one sheet of cardstock, you could probably actually get quite a lot in there. So I hope that inspires you. Karen and Victoria, I'm really sorry that I didn't do this in yellow, but I did do the original in yellow. I hope that counts. So thank you ever so much for joining me, and I'll be back again soon with another project. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you soon. Bye-bye.